I will now call this meeting to order. Flag salute. Steve, please.
Both of you.
Which Steve? Gomez.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sue, will you lead us in the invocation, please?
Certainly.
Father, once again, we do thank you for allowing us to be here. We just ask that you be with the council as the business of the city is discussed tonight. We are thankful that our friends from our sister city are here tonight, Father, and we thank you that you gave them a very safe journey. Just be with the council tonight and continue your watch care over us. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chaidez.
Here.
Councilmember Schultz. Here. Councilmember Canada.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Heckerman.
Here.
Mayor Parida.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Presentations and proclamations. A presentation from the Irving Moskowitz Foundation to the Hawaiian Gardens Eagle soccer team. Okay.
We don't have to go down there for that.
Just there and Mayor Pro Tem.
No. Okay. Thanks, Sue.
Once again, it's my honor and pleasure to represent Dr. Mr. Moskowitz. This time I would like to present a check to the Hawaiian Gardens Eagles soccer team. The Irving Moskowitz Foundation is pleased to make a donation of $10,000 to the Hawaiian Gardens Eagles soccer club to support their efforts providing quality human rights activities to the youth of Hawaiian Gardens. With the cover letter to the foundation dated April 19, 2006.
Lo que nos está ayudando para nuestros niños no es para uno, simplemente para sacarlos, seguirlos sacando como miembros de que no tienen pandilla. A todos y cada uno de nosotros, gracias al señor Flores, que siempre nos está metiendo el hombro ahí para que nos den estas donaciones. Como les digo, no es para uno, sino es para nuestros niños del futuro. Tratamos de rescatarnos de las pandillas, drogas y todo eso. Es imposible que todos se vengan hacia nosotros. Hacemos lo más que podemos. Gracias a también a todos los miembros del Silicon. Todos y cada uno de ustedes. Gracias. Gracias, Petra. Gracias. Thank you very much.
Lucy, you think you can give a brief on that?
Certainly. He thanked Dr. Moskowitz for the donation and to Sal Flores for his assistance in receiving the donation. He thanked the mayor and the council, and he says that they do this on behalf of the kids of our community for our future and to prevent them from getting into drugs and trouble.
Okay, thank you. Ernesto, they're in here now.
Oral communications. El presidente de nuestra ciudad hermana de San Pedro, favor de venir adelante, por favor.
We all go down on this one? Okay, come on, folks.
He wants to please me.
Sure, that's what they're doing because she's speaking Spanish.
Okay.
Muchas gracias. Hoy hace un año vine por aquí invitado por el Concilio de Hawaiian Garden para fortalecer los lazos de hermandad entre Hawaiian Gardens y Venustiano Carranza, Michoacán. Vuelvo a regresar y manifestarles, bueno, que lo que hace un año logramos recibir de la ciudad hermana de Hawaiian, hoy estamos dando un informe de una donación que nos dieron de $5,000. Estoy haciendo entrega por la mañana al concilio de un informe de dónde se invirtieron esos recursos, los cuales ayudaron a nuestra población. Hoy mismo también estamos recibiendo la donación de una ambulancia, la cual es muy necesaria también para la población del municipio de Venustiano Carranza, lo cual yo también quiero agradecerles mucho y finalmente hacerles una invitación para que nos vuelvan a visitar como lo hicieron el año pasado el concilio, ahora Petra como al frente de esta ciudad, igualmente a todo el concilio hacerles esta cordial invitación para que nos visiten en el periodo de junio, que son los días en que hacemos una fiesta, la fiesta popular de los habitantes de Venustiano Carranza. Pues nosotros nos sentimos muy halagados por las atenciones que hemos recibido y también queremos corresponderles con la visita que ellos nos hagan a la ciudad, al pueblo de Venustiano Carranza. Muchas gracias, Petra, muchas gracias, John, Leonard, Betty y mi chico, muchas gracias por todo lo que nos han apoyado. Y de una manera muy sencilla queremos también dejarles un pequeño recuerdo que les trajimos de allá de Venustiano Carranza para que también nos sigan recordando. Pues es algo que nosotros hemos querido manifestar, que no es algo muy caro ni muy eso, pero creo que les va a gustar porque lo hacen las gentes en México con sus manos. A ver si me hicieran favor de...
They handmade those. The artisans in the community.
Wherever you are, friend.
Just start talking. I'm embarrassed. Honorable Mayor, I'll translate what the president of our sister city said. He said that a year ago today, he came to the city, he was invited by the city to increase the sisterhood between the two cities, ourselves and Venustiano Carranza. He said that they also provided information and a budget as to the donation that was received on behalf of the city in the amount of $5,000. They submitted that this morning so that the city could see where the funds have been used and how it's helped their community. He also thanked the city for the donation of the ambulance. They have received that and will be taking that back with them. And in addition, he cordially invites the mayor and the city council to also visit their sister city during the month of June, at which time they'll hold community festivities. They also wish to thank the council for their continued support, and they are presenting them with a gift in memory of the city, and these are handcrafted and made in the city by the artisans there.
Oral communications, items on and not on the agenda. This is a time reserved for members of the audience wishing to speak on items on the agenda and not on the agenda. This period will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, 15 minutes allocated. Anybody wishing to speak, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record.
I'm David Montgomery. I'm on the ABC Unified School Board. My address is 12002 Highland Street. I just wanted to come and talk tonight. I was reading the agenda. I know some things have to do with the schools and ABC, so I just wanted to come and talk about some of the things that are some of the highlights that's been happening at our schools, and talk about the partnership that we have with ABC District and with the city of Highland. Thank you.
There you go.
Hope you heard me, everything before that. First of all, there's a lot of good things happening in the schools in Hawaiian Gardens and throughout the ABC School District. But let's talk tonight specifically about what's going on in the schools here in Hawaiian Gardens. All schools recently have received federal magnet grants totaling several $1 million. All schools have received program improvement funding and professional development. All schools are part of the Southside Reading Collaborative, which has been highlighted by Harvard University and other magazines of national importance, where they've studied what we're doing in relationship to teaching children how to read, what we're doing together. And as we've done this, we've seen many things happening at the schools. Ferguson Elementary, for example, right now has Biliteracy Initiative, Fact TV, My First Day of College, and of course it's been modernized. Hawaiian Elementary School also has been modernized, and they've been working with a program called Success for All now for several years. And both these schools' reading has improved dramatically. Fedde Middle School has been awarded the Enhancing Education Through Technology grant to improve writing skills. They have been annual participants in the Math, Engineering, and Science Achievement Program, which is commonly called the MESA program, and have won awards. ABC currently has 5 schools that have exceeded 200-point growth in the API since 1999, and 2 of them are from Hawaiian Gardens, with Ferguson Elementary exceeding, or their total being 228, Hawaiian Elementary being 207. ABC has also had 8 schools in that same time period that have scored between 100 and 200 points. And Fedde Middle School is one of those 8 schools where they have scored 149 points. These are big jumps. And there are certainly scores that can be envied by other schools. As I look at that, and as I go even further and look at let's say for the past 20, 25 years, scores have been kind of on a level like this, but in the past 5 years, they're on an incline. And the reason why they're on an incline is because we have a partnership, and we're all working together. And within that partnership, I think that we need to have good communication. And as I read and saw some of the things on the agenda, I called Dr. Smuts and asked if we could have a liaison meeting with members of the board that are assigned to the City of Hawaiian Gardens to work with, and that's myself, President Reyes, and past President Spitzer, where we could have some kind of meeting with the City Council where we can discuss any issues that might be out there, so that we can communicate with each other and we can come to agreement. We can work together to keep the success that we've been having at the school sites. I urge tonight that you keep in mind as you discuss all the items, if there's an issue with the bridge, we certainly want to come to an agreement to where all sides, where we can talk the issues on all sides and come to what will be fair for the children. And I know there's issues involved in that, but I think once we get together, we're all can bring our ideas to the table and reach a consensus agreement. And I just want to say, you know, I'm kind of one of the older members of the board now, having been on a long time. I've seen superintendents that have been kind of afraid to even come. They put more emphasis in the Cerritos schools than other schools. But in the past 5 years, I've seen a marked difference in that type of attitude. And under the tutelage of Dr. Barnes and now with Gary Smuts, I see a strong emphasis on what's happening here in the schools. And just one final thing I want to say, and I'll sit down. I've probably exceeded my 3 minutes. But I had an opportunity to read, as board members and community members, we get to go to the different schools and read to them. I read to several of the elementary schools. But I got invited to Ferguson. I have a daughter that has been teaching at Ferguson for the past 7 years. She absolutely loves it. She loves her kids there. They're the most precious things to her. I had a chance to go into her classroom, read to that class, but also to some third graders. And as I saw in their eyes their love for learning, I saw that same spark that I see throughout the district as I go. These are great kids, and they deserve the very best we can give them. And we can do that by working together. And so I urge that we can have this meeting, come together, and let's talk about these issues where we can continue and go forward and continue that upward climb of these scores where they can just go right off the charts. Thank you very much for your time.
Anybody else?
John, can I ask board member David Montgomery a couple questions?
Sure, that's fine. Yes, council member.
David, I want to know, does the ABC School District fund the field trips for the children?
We fund some, yes. Some are done through grant programs, and but yes, we do fund field trips for our children.
Can you tell me what particular ones that are funded?
I can get you a whole list from the district. I'll have it sent over to you. Off the top of my head, I don't know which ones are funded through the district and which ones are. Some are site-based funds. Our sites receive money due dependent upon how many students attend that school. And the ratio is determined, and then the school site makes a lot of those determinations on how they spend that money. And so some schools put a lot of that money into some of those programs, while other schools will hire specialists in certain things. But I will get a whole list of what our field trips are, which ones are paid specifically by the district, which ones are paid by grants.
And
things
in
like
the
that.
STEP program, is it being funded now that there are more grades that are going to be involved in the STEP program?
I'm not
There
sure
is
the
more
funding
grade
mechanism for the
levels
STEP. I know that it's in dire need of some more funding, but I don't know the exact. I'll find out
Okay, thank you.
and get you that information.
David,
Yes.
two questions. I guess, you know, at the last board meeting that I attended, you received a $500,000 grant for anger violence, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
And it deals with much of the issues that the STEP program is dealing with. Is some of that money going to be used for the STEP program?
If it legally can, we will do that. I haven't looked at the grant in its exact wording and stuff.
Okay. And also, there was an increase in your budget for this last year. You
Well,
went
it'll be
from
for next year.
for next year, right? In this last year, from this last year, I think your operating budget, according to Mr. Tuan Nguyen, was $137 million, if I remember right. It's going to go to that, or else it's going to go $5 million more dollars for
It'll
that,
be more
right?
than that, yes.
Right, because of the increase in the education fund in the state, if I recall, right?
By the governor's May revise, and with his COLA adjustment that he has, and the payback to the schools through Proposition 98, and some other programs that he has in the May revise that are specifically, where the dollars are specifically allocated for special programs. But it does look as if that budget passes in Sacramento, ABC will receive a substantial amount of money.
Okay.
And that'll be for the operating budget for next year. That's not to be used, for this year.
Okay.
But that does happen next year.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, did you want to discuss creating a ad hoc committee to work with the district board, or do you want to put that on for another time?
Yeah, we'll put it up for another time.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else wishing to speak?
I'd volunteer for that committee.
Hi, my name is Humberto Gutierrez. I live in Cerritos, 12331 Carnaby Street. I'm here representing Club Social Tarasco, and I'm also here to extend an invitation from your sister city, Venustiano Carranza, Michoacan. And I'm just going to read this letter as it was written for you. It says, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, on behalf of the Club Social Tarasco and your sister city, Venustiano Carranza, Michoacan, we would like to request your honorable presence to our annual parade on June 23, 2006. The Citizens Recognition Awards presentation on the 25th of June, and the Soccer Award presentation on June 28, 2006. We would also like to ask for a much appreciated contribution on your behalf to help us with the many events taking place during these fiestas, benefiting the children and the low-income families of our town and your sister city. We greatly appreciate the continued support and contributions you have provided through the years. We hope you give us the opportunity to keep working with our community residents, and the city of Hawaiian Gardens. On behalf of the sister city of Venustiano Carranza and Club Social Tarasco, we thank you for your support. We'll be leaving a copy of this for you to check it later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else wishing to speak? There being no one, we'll continue.
Madam Mayor,
Yeah.
I believe Councilmember Chides wanted to talk about the being part of a committee for the ABC School District. So, did you want to have a discussion?
Yeah, I would like us to pick a committee, like you said, to talk to the school district, and I'd be more than happy to try to work out some of these issues with the school district. I think I'm probably one of the more knowledgeable people concerning the bridge and some of the truancies on the council, because I've done active research. So, I'd be more than happy to try to hammer out some kind of agreement, between the school district and the city.
Anybody else? Any discussion?
Well, you'd have to have at least 2 council members, Madam Mayor. So, was anyone else wanting to sit on that ad hoc committee?
Mitzi?
No, with my health problem right now, it's kind
All right.
of get around.
I'll volunteer to sit on it.
That's it.
So,
So it'll be John.
do we,
Yeah.
Want to direct staff to set up a meeting?
Yes, if we could do that. Yeah,
Okay.
appreciate that.
Call Gary tomorrow.
so we don't need a vote on that, or?
No, there's just a consensus
Consensus
among the
of
council that Councilmember Chides and Mayor Pro Tem Heckerman are now on the committee, the ad hoc committee to work with the ABC School District.
All right.
Okay.
Hopefully, we get this settled in an amicable way. And without much more problems going on. And maybe we could then move on and worry more about the kids themselves.
All right. At this time, I'd like to request an agenda change. I'd like to change item E5 to E1. That's possible.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Also, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry, in addition to that, the city attorney would like to request the city council to add an item on the agenda. It would be under new business, so it would be F1. This item qualifies under the government code as a subsequent need item. The facts supporting our request to place this on the item, as it occurred after the agenda went out but before the meeting tonight. So upon a 4/5 vote, you can place this item on the agenda, which I would recommend under F1. Basically, the facts of the matter is that I was contacted by our Community Development Director, Joe Colombo, who informed me that there's an operation that had apparently been operating within the city of Hawaiian Gardens, a purported medical marijuana dispensary facility, and that apparently the facility itself is not been operating right now, but as a result of it, Joe wanted to express, he had some concerns with respect to these facilities, and as a result of that, we prepared an ordinance which would basically, if you should approve it, to place a moratorium on these marijuana facilities. And so what I would request from the council at this point is to vote to place this item on the agenda as F1, and then when we get to F1, then you can discuss the item.
All right, move to place item on the agenda as F1.
Second. There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. You're welcome. A1, public hearing. Let's conduct joint public hearing with the City of Hawaii, with the City Council and the Community Redevelopment Agency to adopt a resolution number 040-2006, approving and authorizing the sale of agency-owned property through the execution of a deposition and development agreement, number 2006-01, with Antonio Magdaleno for property located at 22417 Saint Avenue, APN 706902798.
Move to open public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, also, Madam Mayor, we need to open up the redevelopment agency as well, since it's going to be a public joint meeting. So at this time, if as a chair, to open up the redevelopment agency.
I jumped the gun a little bit, huh?
What's that?
I said I jumped the gun a little bit, huh?
Oh, that's all right. No, you're,
Okay.
you're fine.
That's all right. So just ask for a roll call to open the,
Agency.
we're going to open, just say we're going to open and ask for roll call.
Take roll call for the Community Redevelopment Agency.
Right here. I got it here. Oh, it's right here. Make a motion to conduct joint public hearing with the Community Redevelopment Agency.
Well,
We have to make a roll
all
call
you have to
first.
do is open it up. Just state that you're opening the redevelopment agency meeting, Madam Mayor.
Okay, I am now opening the redevelopment committee meeting to order.
In the roll.
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Director Chaidez.
Here.
Director Schultz. Here. Director Canada.
Here.
Vice Chair Member Hickerman.
Here.
Chair Member Prida.
Here.
Quorum. You have a quorum?
Thank you.
And Councilmember Chaidez had made a motion to open up the hearing, so that,
Hearing.
was there a second on
Duly
that?
noted.
Yes, it was
Yeah,
a second.
second.
They all
Great.
voted in favor.
Then you're all set to go.
Yeah. Okay. So I go
Joe Shell.
Okay.
this one.
Well,
Okay.
Anybody want to speak? Motion to close public hearing.
Well, we got to,
Nobody's coming up?
I don't see anybody coming forward. Did you want a staff report?
Joe, why don't you give us a staff report, please?
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, you have before you a disposition development agreement number 2006-01, which basically authorizes a sale between the redevelopment agency and Antonio Magdaleno for the acquisition of a property located at 22417 Saint Avenue. This is a parcel that's zoned medium-density residential, which would allow the construction of the single-family development as shown there in the color rendering. Mr. Magdalena proposes a basic conventional wood frame construction type of dwelling unit with basic stucco and tiled roof. The property will become a corner lot at the Dead End Street project area, and so basically will become will basically enhance that area quite substantially. And as you can see, it's very well articulated. This is a low-income housing project. The property will be sold to Mr. Magdalena for $100,000. Being that the parcel is substantially larger than usual because we had an adjacent parcel that, or a leftover from an adjacent parcel that we did some lot consolidation, the property would be able to accommodate a house of 2,019 square feet. Staff has met all the health and safety code requirements in terms of noticing and conducting the health and safety or the executive summary report, and all the terms and conditions are outlined in the disposition development agreement. The staff recommends that the board and the city council authorize the sale of the property for $100,000.
Thank you. We now go to
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 4, public hearing is now open. Anyone?
No, it's closed. Make a motion.
Motion to waive further reading and adopt Resolution 040-2006.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, but I'll tell you, that's a great house. Anthony, you got to be proud. Great house.
Right.
What a great house. If that doesn't pretty up the end of St. Street, I don't know what else does, buddy. And couldn't have gone to a better family.
Okay.
Right, and Madam Mayor, we'll also need a motion from the redevelopment agency to approve this as well.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great, and Madam Chair, being that we're all done with that, we can now recess the redevelopment agency and then go back to the city council.
Okay, thank you. We will now recess the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting and continue with the City Council meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
Ordinances, B1, conduct second reading and adopt ordinance number 506, amending the Hawaiian Gardens Municipal Code in its entirety by making clerical revisions.
Motion to waive further reading and read by title only, adopt ordinance number 506.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Yeah. We go now.
You too.
Okay, B2, conduct first reading and introduce ordinance number 507, amending the redevelopment plan for project area number 1 of the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Hawaiian Gardens to extend the time limit of the effectiveness of said plan pursuant to Senate Bill 1096, Chapter 211, Stats 2004.
You have to reconvene
Staff
the
report.
redevelopment.
Madam Mayor, we would ask the city council to continue this meeting to the June 13th, 2006 meeting There was a slight problem with our noticing as a public hearing on here. The reason why we put this on right now is because we did notice the other taxing agencies who may be here tonight, so that we can give notice here that we would continue it and not have to renotice everybody through. So we would ask the City Council to continue that matter to June 13th, in which case we'll have that ready for you.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Those in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Resolutions, C1, adopt resolution number 041-2006, a request by the Community Development Department accepting the Carson Street resurfacing project between Pioneer Boulevard and Bloomfield Avenue Federal Project to number SDPL 5387004 and authorizing the filing of the notice of completion for the work. Staff report, Joe?
A requirement after you complete a Public Works project. As you know, we have completed the overlay project on Carson Street, and now we are requesting that the project be declared complete so that we can pay the last and final retention of the contract, the 10% retention, which is in the amount of $63,000. The total project cost was $636,466.
Staff is satisfied that there's no problems along there anywhere?
Right, everything's been cured.
They got the pothole fixed up there by Belshire?
What about that one, 3 feet from the, oh, no.
Well, they would no sooner had it laid there than it was a pothole. So I wanted to be sure that was all
Hard to get
taken
away
care
with
of.
that stuff in
The
this
rest of the street, is it?
We have a 1-year warranty on the project as well, so
Okay.
things may bound to happen even after you make the payment, but we have a 1-year warranty on the project.
Motion to waive further reading and adopt resolution number 041-2006.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Roll call.
Don't need a roll call.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
C2, adopt resolution number 042-2006, a request by the Community Development Department accepting the Community Development Department Office and City Council Chambers project and authorizing the filing of the notice of completion for the work.
Move to waive further reading and adopt resolution 042-2006.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yo, me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. C3, adopt resolution number 043-2006, approving applications for the sale of Safe and Sane Net fireworks and fireworks stands in the City of Hawaiian Gardens for the year 2006 Independence Day celebration.
Motion to waive further reading and adopt resolution number 043-2006.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. C4, adopt resolution number 044-2006, approving the directing the city clerk to destroy certain city records and documents pursuant to the government code of the state of California, City Administrator's Office, City Clerk, Finance.
Oh, by all means, waive further reading and adopt resolution 044-2006.
Second.
Whoa, Honorable Mayor and Council, I do need that amended because after we got the boxes all put together, several people brought us boxes, so we gave you a new updated version, so we do need it amended.
I'll have my motion include the amended portion of it.
Second.
All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
That's a no-brainer on that one.
C5, adopt resolution number 043-2006, approving pre-issue warrants and regular warrants in the amount of $444,133.36.
Move it.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chavez?
Aye.
Councilmember Schultz?
Yes.
Councilmember Canada?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Heckerman?
Yes.
Mayor Prida?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Consent calendar. D1, motion to accept the consent calendar D1 through D3 in its entirety.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So ordered. E2, discussion of Coyote Creek pedestrian bridge. Staff report.
Don't we have the approval of minutes?
No.
This was, yes.
Moved an item up to E1.
Oh, that's right, that's right. Sorry. Okay.
E5.
Now E1.
That's right. I forgot about that. I'm getting old.
Oh, this one. Okay. Okay, E1. Discussion to postpone all donations to the ABC Unified School District pending the resolution of the pedestrian bridge and the truancies issue.
Second.
Second.
Did I hear?
We haven't made a
I
move.
didn't hear a move.
Okay.
Okay, I'll move it. I'll make a motion to postpone all donations to the ABC Unified School District pending a resolution of the pedestrian bridge and truancies issued, so we can have discussion.
Okay.
I have a discussion on this. I put two other things on the agenda for donations, which will be items after this. The funding of the,
Councilmember Chattis, can you put the microphone down?
It's on.
the funding of the field trip, I understand, is not completely funded by the school district. What if we give this money to the PTA? It's not going directly to ABC. This is for the children. They can go to day camp, sixth grade camp excursion before they graduate from sixth grade. Now, the other program, I guess David's going to look into is the fact that it may be funded with this money that they just received. But the camp will be going, the kids will be going to camp on the 30th of May. And I understand they haven't fully received all the money for all the children to be able to go. They had a fundraiser this weekend, and they only raised $265. It doesn't include transportation and the cost of gas, which has gone sky high from last year. So if we can give the money directly to the PTA, or make sure that Mrs. Domes uses this money just for the sixth grade camp for this year.
Well, you know, the reason I put this on here, I'm going to tell you, and you know that we have some issues as board member Montgomery had talked about. As of late, I have made it to a number of ABC school board meetings. We have not really discussed the pedestrian bridge per se to any degree to the board. However, it is very much a sore spot of mine because the school district has locked that pedestrian bridge and has no legal jurisdiction whatsoever to lock that pedestrian bridge. We're trying to fight juvenile diabetes and juvenile obesity through our Bike for Life program, and all of our community cannot cross that bridge to ride a bike to the regional bikeway. And the school district has locked those gates. Now, when I first talked to Dr. Smuts about this issue, he told me the reason they locked the gates for two reasons. It wasn't safe because it hasn't been inspected, and he did it on the behest of the Long Beach Police Department. Okay? Since that time, it was in 2003 those gates have been locked, and I didn't know they were locked by the school district, by the way. We thought maybe there was something wrong with the bridge. We thought maybe the flood control district locked the gates. However, what happened was we had one of our staff members who had the key to Hawaiian Elementary School, their key, and they walked up and they thought it was the same key to unlock the bridge, and sure enough, it was. He put the key inside the lock and opened up the bridge. And I was amazed the school district that has no legal jurisdiction, they don't even have an easement agreement to go in and out, I subsequently found out later, on that bridge, blocked the gates of the bridge. And that bridge has been opened for the use of the city. In 1994, we actually had a grand opening because we were so happy in order to get the kids on bikes to get them across to the regional bikeway. We put a considerable amount of money into this project. I know because at the time I was a staff member and I actually wrote the grant for the bikeway. And if you go to that bikeway right now, you'll see a plaque. And that plaque says the Hawaiian Gardens Regional Bikeway. And the monies derived from the MTA were brought to the city of Hawaiian Gardens by a grant that I wrote, about $200,000 worth of grant money, to build a ramp to the bridge and also put a retaining wall and fencing, new bathrooms and enhancement at Leeware Park. We're lucky. We have a park that borders the regional bikeway that can get alternative funding from the MTA. Yet now, the bridge is locked by the school district, and we don't have, we don't have any access to the regional bikeway. And it jeopardizes the funding for the city of Hawaiian Gardens when it comes to regional bikeway funds. So that was the first issue, okay? And we don't know why that bridge is locked as opposed to the other bridges that go up and down Coyote Creek. There's bridges in Cerritos, but I don't see those bridges being locked by the school district. In fact, that is the only pedestrian bridge that I've seen that's locked by anybody. And it does have some racial overtones from the city of Long Beach, who also tried to put a gate over here on Pioneer Boulevard. And that gate, which we had no jurisdiction whatsoever, was put in the city of Long Beach. They tried to put a gate on Pioneer Boulevard. We took them to court. This little city took the fourth largest city in the state to court, and we beat them. Okay? And we also had the gates removed. A very racist act. Okay? When we found out what some of the people in Long Beach were saying about our community, we were appalled. And you know what? They're saying the same thing across the end of that bridge over in Long Beach. And you know the difference is the school district locked it. I mean, they didn't threaten to lock it. The school district locked it based on no information whatsoever. Now, you know, it gets more ludicrous as time goes on because if you're going to put locks on a bridge, that means you assume managerial jurisdiction of the bridge. That means if a kid can't get across the bridge, he climbs up on top, and if he falls off that bridge, who are they going to sue? They're going to sue the ABC school district. And you know what? The flood control district is going to let that happen. You know why? Because they don't want to assume the liability on that bridge. So the flood control district comes back and tells us, we don't own that bridge. And they let the school district, and I hate to say this, be dumb enough to put their locks on that bridge. And they just don't get it. If a kid, and talking to the superintendent says, so, you know, they can cross anywhere. They can cross on Carson, and they can cross on Wardlow. You know what? Have you ever been down Carson and Wardlow and tried to cross those? First of all, I'm going to say one thing, traffic. That bridge that pedestrian bridge we're talking about has no traffic. There's no road. You walk, it's a pedestrian bridge. There's no trucks, there's no cars, okay? It's a safe route to cross to the regional bikeway. It's the safest one for our children. So if we can cross on Carson and we can cross on Wardlow where there's traffic, that's an unsafe route. So who cares about the safety of these kids? If you go down Wardlow and you take a look, there's a bridge there. And if you look to your right, looking east, if you're looking west or east, doesn't make any difference. There's a rise in the road. A car can't see a small kid crossing the street. There's no crosswalks, there's no signs, nothing. And if a kid tried to cross the street there, he'd get hit by a car. And we're lucky, and the school district is lucky, that no kid has gotten hit, or if a kid has already gotten hit, they didn't put two and two together and say, you know what, I could have crossed at the pedestrian bridge, but it was locked. The same thing happens on Carson. And at Carson, traffic's worse. And the city of Cypress just put brand new median islands in. You couldn't cross there to save your life. But according to the superintendent, it's okay for our kids to cross. Mind you, we haven't crossed. There's no other bridge that spans the school district that the school district has ever closed. I'm going to tell you, they can say that they closed it and did everything, they can say everything about that. But you know what? The people in town know that that bridge has been open. So at this point in time, it's a very big sore spot for me and a lot of people trying to do positive things. Everybody says you want kids off the street. You want them to do positive things. Well, riding a bike is a positive thing. Riding your bike with your family, with your mother and your dad, that's a positive thing. It gets kids off the street in a positive activity. And they're losing weight. They're fighting juvenile diabetes. What else are you asking us to do? We're trying to save kids' lives. And by God, the school district is stopping us from doing it. And they're not doing it in any other community but ours. That's the first issue. You want to hear the second one? It's about the truancy issue. 76 kids got cited for truancy during the walkouts. 76. All of them, nearly all of them, from what I understand, were all Hawaiian Gardens kids. Nearly all of them were Latinos. They walked out at GAR, but those kids didn't get cited at GAR. The fence got oiled. The fence got oiled at Artesia High School. Kids hurt themselves, scratched themselves, got infections on their bodies. Our kids got hurt. Okay? 76 kids got cited for truancy. Let me tell you, I was down here during when they had that march, and we actually had hot chocolate. It was a rainy day. We had hot chocolate, and we had pan dulce here for the kids. And we turned around and we put the pan dulce and the hot chocolate in the gym to get the kids off the street, get them warm, get them dry, and a way to get them inside the gym. And we suggested to them and pleaded with them, please don't go out on the freeway for your safety. Don't go out on the 605 freeway. And we were successful. At that time, the principal told the kids that if they did a 2-page essay, they wouldn't be suspended. So the kids thought everything was okay, and our kids were great. Let me tell you something. These kids were great. They didn't do any vandalism. They didn't do anything wrong. They were very controlled. Parents were with them. Adults were with them. Even some staff were with them. So they believed the principal. And that was on a Tuesday. On a Wednesday, they went to Artesia High School, and they were told, if you want to learn how to do this essay, come inside the gym. So they went to the gym, and the sheriff's department was waiting for them in the gym. And they cited these kids for truancy, which is a $195 ticket. And the parents have to get out and take a day off work for their kids at court. And some of the tickets were marked misdemeanor, and some of the tickets were marked infraction. Of course, that upset a lot of kids because, parents and everything, we were upset in our community. And it turns out, from what we found out, that on Monday, they taped the kids at Palms Park and in other places. They took those tapes, brought them to ABC School District personnel. The personnel seen the kids on film, who they thought they seen on film. They weren't sure, but they put names down on a list. They took those names and they made tickets off that list. Then they turned around and they cited the kids with those tickets on a Wednesday. They taped them on a Friday. On Tuesday, while Sergio Garcia was telling them they wouldn't get any expulsions or suspensions, he was busy going through the process of identifying the kids for Monday in order to give them truancy tickets. That, my friend, is a deception. That is a very, very poor deception. What are we teaching our kids? We're teaching our kids how to lie skillfully. When I talked to Mr. Garcia, the principal, he said, they're not getting suspended. And I can't believe it came out of his mouth. I'm troubled about that. But you know, it was a bad idea. The whole thing was a bad idea. What makes it even worse, they got the okay of the administration. They got the okay they got the approval of the superintendent and all the subordinates below that superintendent. Dr. Smuts, Mary Sue, all of them. They all gave their okay. It's okay, go ahead and give it to them. They didn't check with the attorneys. They didn't do any background check to make sure what they were doing was illegal. But they hurt our kids badly. And the parents were freaked out. Some of these, you know, what's happening here is an injustice. Because I'm going to tell you something. We actually were so upset about all this whole thing, about the kids being truant, after being told that they could do a 2-page essay. We organized the community. And we have a couple of friends here and there. We got a hold of the National Lawyers Guild. And we got an attorney. Our attorney tells us, I had a meeting here with the parents on a Thursday last week, to tell us that 2 things really important. First of all, and I forgot to tell you, that one of the things that happened at the gym was they fingerprinted these kids. They fingerprinted them for a truancy at the school. That was an outrage. Well, we turned around and we got the National Lawyers Guild. We got an attorney named Carol Sobel. She told the students 2 things. First of all, she'd done research on the municipal code. The municipal code for the city of Hawaiian Gardens and the city of Long Beach state that truancies or a curfew law is an infraction. It's not a misdemeanor. Okay? It is an infraction. And an infraction has to take place in the presence of a police officer. That means you cannot tape a videotape and identify people who aren't police officers, who didn't make a valid, verified identification of these kids. Some of the kids who are identified on this list actually were at a funeral for their uncles. And the law says you have to be that the offense has to be done in the presence of a peace officer. And even says on the ticket, if it was done in the presence of a peace officer, was this offense done in the presence of a peace officer? And they're all marked no. She says because of that, that means that the tickets were wrongfully issued and they're all going to be thrown out. She also found in the educational code that it is against the law to fingerprint a kid on school property. She also found that the Hawaiian Gardens Municipal Code and the City of Long Beach Municipal Code is unconstitutional. And so we had to suspend enforcement of our municipal code, which is going to get a couple of kids off the Hawaiian Gardens Municipal Code off the hook immediately. Their court date was today, and I'm sure they walked because our attorney sent them a letter telling them that we're not going to enforce it because we believe it's unconstitutional. I just got a communique from the City of Long Beach, 4th largest city in the state. They're doing the same thing. They're finding out that their municipal code is unconstitutional, so they've suspended theirs. Those are the 2 issues, okay? These are the 2 issues. Both issues, I believe, are connected. And they're connected by discrimination. They're connected by race. Make no mistake about it. This is an egregious offense against this community. And I don't think we should donate 1 red cent to the school district until we resolve these issues. I'm sorry. I have a problem with that. I'm going to stand up strong. And I've been one of the guys who turned around and have supported this school district to the hilt without question. And I've talked to Tom Drulius personally. And I asked Tom, your request for funding, I mean, it's May. Why are you requesting it now? Well, it's for next year. Well, can you hold off, Tom? Because of this situation? He said, yeah, Leonard, I know you. I know that you always supported us in the past, and you got to do what you got to do for your community. Do what you got to do for your community. I know you guys will come through, and we will. If we get a good resolution of these two issues, we'll come through. I don't doubt it one bit. I talked to Ferguson School, and they've raised, and I told them earlier, before this was an agenda item, I talked to them, this council. I told them about this strategy of not donating to the school district. And I talked to our principal. I also talked to her back in October. The sad thing about this whole thing is I talked to Linda Dome back in October because she didn't ask for any money. And I was the guy that told her, you got to write us a letter so we can get you money for these unfunded things that you've got. But she didn't. And she waited till now to do it. It was back in October when I asked her to do it. And now, all these issues have come up, and she's stuck. And the problem is that, you know, the city's responsibility to do many things in the community. It's not our responsibility to educate kids. That's the school district's responsibility. Okay? They just got $5.5 million more coming up this next year. They got plenty of money in the school district's coffers. And I'm saying, if the kids can't fund, it's now May, it's May, what, 23rd. School is out on the 22nd or 4th. Why are they hurting for money now? Did they write something in the budget they can't fund? I got a problem with all of this. Now, I agree with my colleague over here, Councilwoman Canada, that we should give money to the PTSAs, the Parent Teachers Association. But I would agree to do that after we resolve these two issues. And I would say one other thing. I would say that from now on we give the money to the PTSAs under certain conditions. And those conditions be that the president of the PTSA acquire a master budget for their school. And they get regular expenditure reports from the school to figure out how much the school is spending. And I want them in complete communications with the site council chairman, who really has the power. Without their signature, the school doesn't get funded. And I'm saying this because I want to empower the parents. I want those principals to go to those parents to ask for the money. Now, if they don't use it all, if they don't use all their money, that's okay. And leave it in their bank. They may need it for something else. All we want is some accountability of what happens with the money. Right now, we don't have that. And right now, the PTSA is busting their rear ends to try to get money. But I think there's money there. I would say, you know what? What happened before there was a casino? You know? The school district had to raise money, or else they put the money in themselves.
I understand the kids didn't go to camp because they couldn't raise money.
Well, I understand 76 kids got cited for truancy. I can give you their names. I don't know any other names that are out there.
I want to say that, as far as I'm concerned, these are three different issues: funding and the truancy and the bridge. I have no problem with the truancy and the bridge, especially me on the bridge, because right now I am affected with my diabetes. So I know where Councilman Chidas is coming from. We need to see our children healthier than we are. And I don't see a problem with the truancy. If these children were cited wrong, then it should be corrected. But I have a problem with not helping these other children whose parents do pay, if they can afford $180 for their child to go to camp. And a lot of, from what I understand, some of those parents are still paying. This trip is taking place on the 30th of May. And these parents are still struggling to pay some of this $180. And there are some children that are not able to go, that can't go. And I have a real problem with that, because I have seen disappointment in children's faces. They cannot go to camp. I, as a child, was very disappointed that my parents could not afford to send me to some of the trips the other children took. But because my parents couldn't afford to send me, I didn't get to go. And I have a real problem with that.
I agree with my colleague, Mrs. Canada. If I'm going to err in judgment as far as donation, I'm going to err on behalf of the kids. In this city, we have a saying, our youth, our future. I believe wholeheartedly in that. That is our motto. And I do not want to sit here and think that because of my lack of speaking up, or at least attempting to make sure that the money is there for these children to attend that camp, because I have heard what Mrs. Canada just stated from other sources also, that some children may not be able to go because the funding is not there for them. The parents could not afford, so on and so forth. I, for one, don't want to see any child ever denied the ability to have something like this for themselves. It's a learning experience. It's a learning experience they may never come their way again. And I don't want to be guilty of having been responsible in some small part in denying that experience to them. So I personally would like to see us give enough money to make sure that every child in that 6th grade class that has the grade level that's required for them to be able to attend that camp are able to do so.
Well, I wish the school district had as big as hearts as you guys. You know, I just wish that the school district would feel the same thing we feel about kids, okay? When they do some of the things they do. I think you got to be strong. Sometimes you got to make tough decisions when you're up here, okay? You got to make a tough decision. And of course, one of the things it really bothers me about it is that they're using this quasi blackmail thing. It's to tell people that they don't have funding for these kids. And I'd ask why. Why do you tell the kids you're going to have a field trip throughout the year and not have money for them? That doesn't sound like very good management practices. I mean, we have projects that we do, and we've got money for it. We plan to have money for it. We set aside money for those things. We don't wait till the last minute on a whim and a prayer and hope that you get money later on out of a $137 million budget. We fund, and we've done that. And we've always done it. I'm afraid that the school district's gotten pretty used to it. I mean, we even got a request from one of the schools for funding for tricycles. Now, come on, gang. You're telling me that we're going to fund tricycles for one of the schools? I mean, I don't believe we should be paying for lights or tricycles or fringe benefits or anything like that. Those are regular, run-of-the-mill expenses that the school district should be paying. That's totally out of line. And I think that that's what's happening to us right now. My proposal to let the PTSAs control the money makes the money beholding to the PTSA and the principal to the PTSA. And it makes an awareness, it raises the awareness of schools and education to the parents And that's who should be out there making sure that this money gets out there to the right spot. And I don't think saying you don't have money for it is a good, rational decision. That doesn't make sense. That's like us saying, well, you know, we have payroll, but we don't have a way to pay it. Maybe we can ask the school district to give us some money. You know what the school district would say? Hey, we don't fund your stuff. Right? All of our stuff, all the things we fund are enhancements. They help enhance the educational opportunities for our kids. And we've been pretty generous in doing that. And I don't think there's a school board member that would not say that. We've been very generous. But you know, I got to tell you, if we turned around and we said we had an enhancement for the senior program so that they could have a free lunch, and we would ask the school district to kick in money for that enhancement, the school district would laugh at us. They would say, you're out of your mind. We don't fund you. We fund education. Well, I say, you know what? Then fund it. Then fund it. Don't wait till the last minute with your poor management skills and come to us for money. I mean, I think we've got to tighten up on what we do and how we do it. We need some accountability for this money. I would urge all my colleagues to postpone this situation, to postpone the donations, pending these two issues being solved. And I think they're going to be solved. Once they're solved, I'll be first to make a motion to help these schools. I'll be first to make a motion for Tom Julius and his STEP program. Make no mistake about it. I know what mending fences is all about. And I'm here and I'm waiting to do that. But right now, I'm going to tell you something. We're in a quagmire. We've got two very, very volatile situations with the fence, and we got with the fence and the truancies. And I can't see the way it's been handled from the school district that we should be benefiting the school district in some kind of way. We need to put pressure on that school district to come to the table and deal with these problems, because if you give them money now, they're just going to say, hey, you know what? We can kick them in the teeth and they're going to keep giving us money.
Well, I
But
believe...
I don't think we're benefiting the school district.
No,
I
we're
think
not.
we're benefiting the children that are attending our schools.
My problem is that these are our kids from our city, and I'll be darned if I want to see our kids denied if we could be of some little help there. We're not helping the school district in this manner, Leonard.
Well, I think you are.
And there's not enough time if we were to be able to settle this tomorrow and resolve the entire situation. There's not enough time then to come back and take care of this thing here for those sixth graders. That's my problem. That's the one thing right there, just that one thing. The rest of it, yes, I definitely want to see us get this thing settled amicably if possible, and I'm sure it is possible. Cool heads should prevail, and we should be able to sit down and discuss this and come to a resolution on it. In the meantime, I'm still worried, and I'm sorry, Leonard, it does worry me about these children and the possibility that some kids that belong to us, that are our kids in this city, may be left out.
Well, I'm going to tell you that the school district got a number of funds that were donated to the school district, right, Mr. Montgomery? A lot of thousands of dollars donated to the school district, if I remember right. Go ahead.
Yes, we did, but once again, those are for '07. They're not...
Yeah, but you had thousands of dollars donated for '06 too, didn't you?
For various capacities, yes.
Yeah.
But for sixth grade camp itself, sixth grade camp has always been an optional for the sixth graders to go to. Now, almost all of our schools do go, but it's always been incumbent upon the families to pay the cost of sixth grade camp. The school district does not pay. It's kind of an accumulation of the curriculum that they've been learning, and then they go to this hands-on program at the camp. But that's always been paid for by the families and through fundraisers at the school site to raise that funds. The school district does not fund sixth grade camp. When I say we fund field trips, we have the buses that, a day trip here and there, but the sixth grade camp is a week-long mountain adventure that the kids have been working for and looking forward to all
It's actually
year.
a science camp.
Yes,
Yeah.
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 And so...
You can't use Title I funds for any of those, huh?
I don't think so.
Because, Title I schools get more money than any other schools, right?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Is that a Title I school?
It is a Title I school. Your schools in Hawaiian Gardens are Title I schools.
Thank you.
But yet, there are some restrictions on what you can use and what you can't use. But,
That's right.
But
But it is education,
sixth grade
right?
camp I don't think is one of those that can be used. But like I say, it's always been optional. The parents could, or they can, for those students that stay back, there will be a teacher to teach, at the school. There'll be, education's not going to stop for that week. But if the kids from Ferguson or Hawaiian decide not to go to sixth grade camp, then, they'll stay at the school and they'll still be taught, but they won't have that experience of camp.
But they stay back if their parents can't afford to pay that $180.
I'm sure that's why they've made the request for the,
Why did they wait so long?
I can't answer that, why they waited so long.
Isn't it May?
It is May, and I believe it starts, I believe that week at camp starts before, I think it's next week.
They're going on May 30th.
It's totally
May 30th.
crazy.
I mean, why do we wait till the last minute? I mean, to be asked for money?
I believe this was on the shoulders of the principal of that school to have done so earlier,
The
but,
letter is dated March 31st.
well, then it's plenty
Yeah,
of time.
but we didn't get it on March 31st.
I didn't see it at all.
We can certainly have an in-service to talk to our people about when they have situations
Yeah.
that are requesting.
We got this in April.
There's a protocol and a time period that should be, respected and done in a
Right.
proper amount of time. But
But we've funded other issues, like when the kids went to Sacramento. That was a short time of money that we gave them. so
Yeah,
they can
that was
fly.
before there was truancies.
Yeah,
That was before there was truancies, before they found out the problems with the closing of the bridge.
I feel very strongly that once your ad hoc committee and our ad hoc committee get together, those two issues that you have, we're going to reach agreement on. And I'd sure hate to see, in the meantime, the fact that we can't get together soon enough and then have board meetings for action to be taken in time, for kids to go.
Well, I'm hoping that takes place. I don't want to see the 2-hour discussion on the agenda item I seen at the other board meeting, just to put an agenda item on.
Believe me, I don't want to have that either.
Okay? That's what scared me. That was one of the scariest experiences I ever had. You have this situation where people are crying out in the community about what's going on, and it takes a school board 2 hours to figure out how they're going to put it on the agenda. Not if they were going to do anything, but if they were going to even listen to the community. And that's what's bothering to me. It bothers me. It bothers a lot of people.
I couldn't believe it.
I sat up at the table and I couldn't believe it. What transpired
Yeah, I know.
that night of how long it took to reach agreement to have a simple information
Yeah.
item. But with all that aside,
Well, we got the first step.
cool heads will bring resolution to conflicts, and but please don't. I don't want to get involved in your decisions, but I'd hate to see the kids lose on behalf of disagreements that we might have. And I really don't think they're disagreements, because if I heard you talk, I think we're in agreement on almost everything that we've talked about. And I think that we can find ways in which, you know me, Leonard.
Yeah, because Dave, I can fully understand my colleague's problem with this thing, and I see it myself.
I do too.
Even if it were not true, but the appearance is there of racial things going on here. We are a heavily Hispanic community, 76% Hispanic. That any time that I see something of this sort happening and the appearance is there, it angers me very much, because I represent a heavily Hispanic city, and I resent any time that they are put upon. One of the very first things that I said when I came on board, was first elected, I told the sheriffs in here and the captain, my people, most of which are brown skinned, had better be treated equally with people of my color. That I don't want to see them, just because they're brown skinned, looked down upon and thinking that, well, they got brown skin, they got to be guilty of something, which has been that way in the past. We have a very good community here, as you should know. We have a very good community. I'm happy that Dr. Barnes was able to see the need to do something, because prior to that, there wasn't much being done for our kids in this community, education-wise. So I'm glad to see this taking place, but yes, we can get this amicably agreed to, I'm sure. It may take a meeting or so to do so, I don't know, but I do want to see it settled. And I want the school board to understand that, it is personal with us when it comes to our kids. It is very personal when it comes to our kids and the way they're treated.
Well, injustice to any subgroup is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And although I understand how you've come to those conclusions, I disagree that anybody on the school district side has any type of agenda to racially segregate.
As I said,
I think they're two different issues.
It's just the appearance.
That shouldn't be lumped together,
Mm-hmm.
but I can understand how conclusions have come to that, but
Mm-hmm.
knowing the people involved, I've never heard any type of thing that would lead me to.
Well, I wouldn't think there should be, because you're
There
heavily
is.
diverse on the school board as it is. But
Of course.
still, as I said, the appearance is there. If nothing else, that appearance is there. As Leonard said, 76 kids, did you say, were cited?
Right.
All of which are Hispanic, all of which are from Hawaiian Gardens. No other Caucasian kid was cited. No Asian child was cited.
No kids from Garber cited.
So, there's that appearance.
No other bridges are closed in Cerritos.
There's where we have the problem. So.
You don't want me to keep going.
Well, I'd be happy to, and I hope that we can have this discussion in that ad hoc committee,
Mm-hmm.
So when will that take place?
As soon as the two groups can get together, as soon as they can.
Sooner the better.
Mayor, we have to clear all of your schedules, but I told Gary I would call him tomorrow morning.
Good.
Pending the results of the meeting, and we'll try and schedule some as soon as possible.
I'll try to make myself available for whatever day it is.
Maybe we
And
can have it
time.
before the end of the week.
Well, and we still can't do anything otherwise, Betty, because, there's no more council meetings or anything like that. Has to be agendized.
No, we don't have to agendize that meeting.
We don't? No, I'm talking about settlement on this kind of stuff now.
Oh, right. But the initial meetings we can
Yeah,
do.
no, I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
No.
Well, I don't think that, I don't know if I can really, I'm going to say this, but I don't know if I could have the confidence in the school board to do the right thing without something that's saying that we're going to get hard-nosed with this whole thing. And so far, I think the position and the tact we've taken have had a result, or they wouldn't have done what they've done. But I am really perplexed because, I'd be the first guy, I was the first guy to tell Linda Dome to give us money. I'll guarantee you that. I was the first council person to ask Linda Dome at Ferguson to give us money. And if you were to call her right now, she'd tell you I was the first guy that did it. Okay? The fact that she waited so long to do it, I don't know why. We wouldn't even be here talking about this stuff.
Well,
But I'm going to tell you that I think that, I don't believe that the school board really understands. I'm not saying in its entirety, and I'm telling you, David, you might understand. I don't know about the others. Okay, even the ones I thought would understand surprised me very much surprised me. I thought for sure those folks would understand where we were coming from, but they didn't. And that bothered me. That really bothered me. I was really taken back by that. And I say, you were the only, I'm going to tell you, you're the only, you and this group were the only ones really talking of reason over there in a way of trying to deal with the issues, because, you know, I didn't see the others really making any contribution out of the 7 you had up there that would help the South End schools. And you know how we've always felt about South End schools. So I think that for me, I would urge my colleagues to take the strategy not to fund anything at this point in time until we have a resolution of this issue. And I don't mind moving as fast as we can to get the resolution of the issue, but I don't think we're going to motivate the school district any more than what, you know, if we give them any money. If we give them money, I mean, they're not going to be motivated.
Well,
But we're not giving the school the money. We're going to give it to the kids that attend Ferguson.
I don't think you're going to, I think you're going to give it to the school district.
When we cut a check, does it go to the school district
Yeah.
or it goes to Ferguson?
Well, if it goes to Ferguson,
Or
then
how
it's
about
considered the school district.
Well, how about the PTA?
But we can check to see if we can do a check to the camp.
Who's been doing the fundraising for this trip?
The school, the kids, the students?
I mean, who arranged the fundraising? Was it the PTA or was it the principal?
It varies from school to school. I don't know the details on Ferguson, but usually the
It's
PTA
PTSA.
in conjunction with the principal and the families will get together and decide on fundraisers for camp.
Well, that
And
is,
ideally, it's been taking place all year long.
Yeah.
You know, apparently it hasn't here.
We're pretty good, aren't we, David? I mean,
You guys-
this is not a usual thing where you can, you know, like walk up and talk to us. Like, you know, we're really, I mean, it's a lot different than the school board meeting. You have to admit,
Yes.
right? Pretty homey atmosphere. That's why we're pretty homey folks. We got pretty big hearts, okay? But you know what? We're very much down to earth, David. You're not going to find a more caring city council that you'll approach than the city of Hawaiian Gardens.
yeah, and thank you, David, for
I know
coming
that.
before
Yeah.
what could be perceived as somewhat of a hostile area.
Well, we're both in this together, you know, and we're both working for one reason, and that's, you know, your kids, our kids, they're our future, you know. I mean, I don't mean to sound cliche-ish, but, you know, our job is to educate, but they're kids from your community, my community, and we both of us, you know, while your elected capacity, you know, has the whole city in mind, especially the kids, you know, I'm elected specifically for kids. So we work together.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about partnerships. And partnerships will communicate and find solutions. And once we meet in that smaller group, I'm sure that the larger group will accept the recommendation that the ad hoc committee will take to them. So I have perfect confidence that the school board will come through. So, thank you.
Madam Mayor, there is a motion and a second on item E5, which is to postpone all donations. So, do you want to take a vote on that? You'll need to take a vote on that before you consider any other items as far as.
All right, as far as for the school district itself, I would vote to agree, and
Yes,
I would say, yeah, for me, that's okay. But I still have a problem with this other one.
Just one other thing, Madam Mayor, through the council, through the mayor. I don't know if the rest of the council did get a copy, but I know Councilmember Chidas and I and Ernesto, we did receive a letter. And Mr. Montgomery, I don't know if you received or you're aware of a letter, but the city did get a letter from Dr. Smuts, who advised us that absent a court order, those gates will not be unlocked. So that is why probably this was brought before you ahead of time, because there was an instance of inviting litigation. There appeared to be no basis for negotiation other than maybe instituting litigation. So that's just something, I don't know if the rest of the council is aware of that, but Councilmember Chides and myself and the acting city administrator, we were aware of that. So.
I don't know about the letter.
Okay.
I've just found out about it prior to this meeting.
Welcome to the club, David. Neither did I until just now.
Yeah, I have,
You should have copies in your inbox. You got it.
The only thing that I had in there was, well, maybe that was the Smuts letter.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
it says, at this time, the district believes that keeping the gates closed and locked is necessary in order best to protect the district from potential liability.
This is a simple.
And it will continue to do so unless and until a court of competent jurisdiction or other valid authority rules that the district has no responsibility for the bridge, or that the district cannot so lock the gates, or until another entity, including the City of Hawaiian Gardens, accepts a quitclaim deed from the district, transferring the district's interest in responsibility and liability for the bridge. Well, the district's got plenty of liability of the bridge if it locks it. But the quitclaim deed is an interesting claim, because if you don't own the bridge and you don't have an easement for the bridge, what are you going to quitclaim?
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
This is the
So
next one.
this guy's telling us he wants us to go to court to do this. And I'm saying, well, maybe the court is in the hands of the school board. Okay? And I did everything I could to deal with staff first. I'm going to tell you this. I did the same thing with Don Kanabe's staff, and I did the same thing with your staff. If you notice, I didn't make an issue of it with the bridge to the board. You're probably one of the more knowledgeable people at this point in time about the pedestrian bridge. Okay? But I'm going to tell you, I made a point to work with Dr. Smuts first and his staff, because I was a staffer myself, and I know how tough it is to go to a board, have somebody go to your board and would probably embarrass Dr. Smuts. I'm sorry to say this, okay? Because it would be an embarrassment. It would be an embarrassment to the school board to bring this up to them at this point in time, knowing what I know. And you know what? I don't think it would really sit too well with Dr. Smuts. And I told him, I said I didn't want to do that. But he has continued to write absolutely crazy letters like this. And I'm just appalled. I can't believe that we're doing this. I just can't believe we're doing this. And I don't think that, I'm wondering whether the school board believes this guy in what he writes. I can't believe that Atkinson, Hardin, Davina Hardin of Atkinson, Andelson, Loya, Rudd, and Romo, your attorneys, have read this letter. I mean, it's no different than the truancy issue. I don't think he's gone to his attorneys to make sure that he's gotten legal stand. We have an attorney that have read this letter, and he's about as surprised about this letter as anybody. He showed me several contradictions, which I started showing you about the letter itself. I've seen contradictions on this letter. He uses district, the word district, to describe the flood control district and the ABC school district, so you don't even know what he's talking about. So I'm just, I'm totally confused as to what he means, but I knew one thing. He's like holding on to his digging in, saying he's going to go to court no matter what happens on this gate. Spend the money that could be used, if you will, to science camps, okay, for attorneys. They could spend that money for science camps, to send Ferguson School to science camps. Now you know why I'm so upset about this stuff. All because he wants to close a bridge. I didn't know the school district is in the bridge business. I didn't know that. But like I told him, he's got about as much jurisdiction as closing all the bridges, going all the way up the flood control channel, as he's got to close this one. So why aren't you closing the other ones, Gary? And that's what I asked him. And he keeps telling me, I don't have to take legal opinion from you, Leonard. You haven't passed the bar. And he's told me that 4 or 5 times. And I said, but you know what? You hire people who have passed the bar. We do too. And what we're saying here makes sense. You got to say something that makes sense to us. You can't turn around and say you don't have any legal interest in a bridge and then throw your locks on it. Say you care about the safety of the kids, but you're willing to lock it and let the kids crawl up on top and fall, 60 feet and get injured down below, or have them cross on Wardlow and get hit by a car. You're worried about the safety of the kids? What are you worried about? That's the one safe route these kids have to get to the other side of the regional bikeway. And he's locked those gates. So go ahead, call for the question.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
I'll vote aye with reservations. I still want to go to this channel, this number 4 afterwards.
Aye. Motion carries. Should I go to E4?
It would have become E2 now? Yeah. Approval minutes.
Mike. So. Okay. Okay. Discussion items. E2, approval of minutes. Oh,
Yeah, but we just had the other thing on E1. Okay, so
It moves down.
Betty moved it, I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I think we just had a discussion of the Coyote Creek thing.
We've already had that discussion.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah.
There is, however, a letter that we received from Don Canabi's office requesting a meeting with the county, the city of Long Beach, and the city of Hawaiian Gardens to try and resolve the issue regarding the pedestrian bridge.
Yeah, because my understanding is on this, each entity has denied responsibility for this bridge. Long Beach was supposed to have been the owner of the bridge. They denied ownership. The county built the bridge, but they've denied ownership. Then we were told that the school district had the bridge, so on and so forth. And there's never been a definitive answer to that up to this point. For me personally, don't take this the wrong way, but for me, it's the perfect runaround to never get an answer. It works great.
Yeah, it works great for
But-
nearly all parties, but except for the city of Hawaiian Gardens.
But the problem here is that we need a definitive answer to this problem, and so, ergo.
However, there is a smoking gun. Okay, the smoking gun is,
Minutes.
and it's also mentioned in this letter that we just received from Dr. Smuts. And I have a copy of a grant deed that's an easement. An easement that's given to the county of Los Angeles from the LA County Flood Control District. That means the LA County Flood Control District owns the property. You can't give what you don't own. Okay?
Yeah, we already discussed this one.
So we know that this particular document says that the County Flood Control District gave this easement to the County of Los Angeles, and in fact, Dr. Smuts actually puts that in this document. So Dr. Smuts should already know who owns that bridge if he's saying that the County Flood Control District gave an easement to the county of Los Angeles. The letter we got from the county of Los Angeles was, we don't own it. And we said, that's right. I'm saying that's right. You don't own it. You know who owns it? The county flood control district owns it, not the county of Los Angeles. And there's a difference because it's a separate politic from what I understand. It's not governed by the county board of supervisors.
That's what I'm not worried about.
That's who owns the bridge. And it sits over county flood control district property. So.
Right, so
Okay.
just to summarize the request, Supervisor Knabe is requesting that a study be done
Yeah.
to determine whether or not it is feasible to have a pedestrian bridge, or would it be better to put a street through there, or whatever.
Tell me how they're going to put a street through that little thin.
Right, there,
Okay.
And he wants to spend $100,000 in doing it, and with that $100,000 of taxpayers' money, he could clean up that bridge, paint it, put lights on it, stick a billboard on it, and probably say, eat at Joe's, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if you want to waste $100,000 of county tax money, go ahead. I say forget it. I say we should direct our staff to write the 4th District back and tell him to take his traffic study and put it where the sun don't shine.
I think I'd be a little nicer than that.
That was nice.
We may need something in the future. I hesitate to.
I would say that'd be highly irresponsible to take the people's money that we could use for other viable projects, and guess which one I'm thinking of, and spend it on such a ludicrous thing. And he also, in the letter, he says, well, don't bother about who owns the bridge. I thought that was interesting. Don't pursue that. Well, he knows darn well if we pursue it, who owns the bridge.
I think we can get this taken care of with the ad hoc committee thing, right? You think we can? You think if whatever is agreed upon with the ad hoc committee between the two entities, that school board, the rest of them are going to go along with, and if we agree that it's in the best interest of everyone to open that bridge, they'll go along with it? Okay.
just Councilmember Heckerman and Council, just for your information, Superintendent Gary Smuts has already notified us that he is in favor of that study being conducted. I'm just letting you know.
It's in his letter. Let me read it to you, Trustee Montgomery, so you know what your guy is writing. Finally, I am in receipt to recent correspondence from County Supervisor Knabe to Mayor Prida of the City of Hawaiian Gardens explaining Supervisor Knabe's proposal for a mobility study at county cost to determine the mobility needs of the Los Coyotes flood control channel. The district supports the county desire to undertake such a study and will be interested in the results thereof. Did I miss a board meeting? I don't seem to remember the district stating that they're in favor of this study. But maybe I missed the board meeting. Maybe you can recall the date of that board meeting, because I don't remember that one. I would say that would be a policy decision of the board, not a policy decision of one person. And I think that is the kind of things that we're looking at, you guys. This is exactly what this is the craziness of this whole thing. But I'm hoping that the school district and their committee and our committee will work together to try to find an amicable resolution.
Well, there's one thing about it. The school board is Dr. Smuts' boss. So therefore, if the school board, majority of the school board goes along with what the ad hoc committee says, then Dr. Smuts has no other alternative but then to follow what the school board has said, I would think.
And hopefully Trustee Montgomery will take some of these concerns.
Well, I think I'd like to at least give it time. Let's work with the ad hoc committee before we get too much farther into this thing and everything. As far as Doug Knabe's wanting to have a study and what have you, I don't know where the hell they're getting, pardon my French, where they're getting all this money, but, you know, presumably a while back the county was not necessarily broke, but pretty close, so, but anyhow, let's work with the ad hoc committee on this thing and try to work it out that way.
Through the mayor, would the council direct staff to prepare a response to Supervisor Kanabe and advise him that at this decision was made at the council meeting tonight to form an ad hoc committee that's going to be meeting with the school district to discuss this very issue, and that it's really not necessary to have a meeting with the supervisor or to consider the fund or the study. Hopefully, resolution can be made with this ad hoc committee. I think we need to respond at least to Supervisor Kanabe that you've taken some action that is going forward to try to reach resolution.
I think that should be in order on that. Just explain to him.
As soon as possible.
ASAP.
That's
Yeah. Because, if we can resolve this, through the ad hoc committee, then we don't have to go any farther with the 4th District or anything else. If we can get the bridge back open, we've resolved the issue.
Is there any chance that, and Trustee Montgomery, I don't know, is there any chance of having all the parties involved in this to talk about it?
I mean, the county and...
The county needs to be involved. They really do.
Well, I have no I don't worry about that.
extent, I mean.
But
What I would like to see, I'm going to tell you what I'd like to see. I'd like to see John Kavanaugh and Davina Hardin of Atkinson, Andelson, Loya, Rudd, and Romo there, okay? Because some of the things we're going to be talking about are grant deeds, property, real property, okay? Easements. The board needs to understand that the school district has no jurisdiction on that bridge. They have nothing. They don't have a piece of paper that says anything that they can put a lock on that bridge. Nothing. And I want that clear to the school board so they know what they're doing. They're aware about what's going on here. Because anything happens to any kid, they're going to get sued. They got their neck stuck. I don't know where your risk manager, I talked to your risk manager about this, and I don't know what she said. She wasn't there. I talked to her assistant. I said, I hope you talked to Smuts about this thing and how serious it was. I was a risk manager, and I know, and that's why I talked to her. I thought maybe she would, wake him up. But apparently not.
Well,
But I would say that we would send in that letter that we're not in favor of spending $100,000 of taxpayers' money for a study, for a needless study, that we could pay $15 to get a copy of the recent court decision that establishes ownership of that bridge, whether it be a grant deed or a court order.
my thing is here too is that I don't want to drag this thing out any longer than it has to be dragged out. It's creating a lot of hard feelings now, and I just don't want to see it go on and on and on ad infinitum. I'd like to see us get an agreement as quickly as possible. I don't know if, we could have staff from Kanabe's office be a part of that, or if we could get Kanabe there at the ad hoc committee or meeting or whatever. But I know the one thing, whatever is decided within that ad hoc committee has to be the law after that.
I just think the flood control district would do everything to muddy the waters. I'm sorry. They're going to do everything they can do to muddy the waters because they don't want take any responsibility whatsoever for it as long as the school district has its locks on it. And rightfully so. They don't want to take responsibility when the school district's going to be liable. I mean, that's what's happening. That's exactly what's happening, okay? And I say if we work with the school district on this thing, I think, we can put all the onus right back to the flood control district where it belongs. They own it. They've done the inspections on it. They've done the maintenance, and I've documented that. I've sent that to the superintendent. When he said he didn't have any inspection, I sent him a copy of the inspection the very year he closed that bridge, 2003.
Here's one more thought in this matter in bringing the county into this along with us, okay? Say that it is finally agreed upon that actually the county is responsible for that bridge, that by God, I don't want them going out and sticking a lock on it. Now we got some real problems. Now we're going to have to deal with the county for sure. And whatever else it takes to get anything done through the county, which sometimes is a very long process, drawn out. So I still say, ad hoc committee, and if the Kanabe wants to be there, fine.
Kanabe won't put a lock on there once they take that lock off. I'm going to tell you
Is
that
there,
right now.
is there a consensus as far as the direction given to staff
Yeah.
on drafting the letter
Yeah.
to Kanabe that we're not,
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
council's not interested in the study? We're going to move forward with the ad hoc committee to meet with the
Mm-hmm.
board members and
Explain to him what's happening with the ad hoc committee.
we'll
and that-
update him as we go along, I guess.
Mhm.
If you can send a representative from his office to be there,
That would work.
that would work.
I think that would muddy the waters. I'm sorry, you guys. That would muddy the waters. And I'm going to tell you why. Because they're going to do everything to turn around and do the moonwalk away from this thing. Okay? They're going to make it very difficult for us to negotiate with the school district.
But at this point, we are still, talking about that they say that the school district has ownership of the bridge. Okay, if this is the case at this point, and they still insist upon this, then the school district does have the authority to remove those locks at this point. And the county has nothing to say about it.
So
That's
how can
right.
how can he has the authority to remove the locks when he's saying he doesn't own it? The county says they own it, everybody?
No. The county has said they do not own it. My understanding is that easement was given to the Bloomfield School District, or Bloomfield, whatever they called it, the school district, I believe, at that time, that the easement rights were granted at that time, the bridge was then built, and where the county came in supposedly was with inspections and so on and so forth.
No,
But then I've also heard that the county built the bridge, which would make it theirs.
No, the easement doesn't cover the bridge.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Let me get this straight. The ABC School District has no easement on that bridge. There is a strip of land in Country Square Manor in the housing tract. That's where their easement exists. It's outside of flood control district property, okay? And anything from the county flood control district property across the bridge and all the way across to Hawaiian School, ABC doesn't own one iota of it.
Okay.
Okay. well,
Easement or ownership or anything. They don't have any claim at all.
All right, I think we can get this hashed out at that ad hoc meeting.
Right.
So, rather than dragging this out any farther tonight, the hour's getting late, so,
You'll flush these issues out when you meet.
yeah, right.
Why don't I finish this? Yeah, I know. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Choose a direction.
It's just direction.
Yeah.
Consensus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We didn't need a vote on it, just consensus of the council. So,
E3, discussion of a request on behalf of Tracy High School to approve a monetary donation for the System to Encourage Peace program and pointing dollars towards health programs for students who violate district rules regarding the abuse of drugs and alcohol.
Well, I think you've taken care of that already.
I think on that one, I think you're right, Leonard. Now, the next one is a different story.
Okay.
All right.
Just based on that, you will need to take an action now on number 3.
All right, I'm going to move that we hold this in abeyance until resolution of,
Number 5.
I think what
the
you would
issues?
probably ask for Councilmember Heckerman or Mayor Pro Tem is to take this off calendar.
all right, I'll move to take it off
Take it
calendar.
off number.
Second.
Okay, all in
All
favor?
right.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. E4,
E4 is a different story. I still.
same thing.
Yeah. Well, no, it isn't the same,
That's us.
because this is PTA that's doing it. I have it right here.
Yeah.
For the fundraising and what have you, for the camp and what have you. This is not coming from the ABC School District. Ergo, money has to be found somewhere, and they've had fundraisers, and even the teachers have pitched in some money on this and what have you. So, it's the PTA donation, so on and so forth. Well, again, I come back to that I'll be darned if I'm going to sit here and feel responsible for any child being left out of going to this Arrowhead Ranch outdoor science camp for lack of funds by the parents.
Well, maybe the school board would feel that way too.
Well, first of all, I think we're beating a dead horse here. Personally, I'm going to vote to give them whatever it takes, to make up what it's going to need to get those kids there. That's how I'm moving that, to give them whatever they're short.
And I second.
Well, I think we'd be making a big mistake. Okay, I think we'd be making a big mistake because, you know, guys, before we did anything like this, they did it on their own. To wait till the last minute, to wait till the last minute in May to fund these kids, I think it's a cheap shot to turn around and say that the responsibility of this city council to educate these kids.
I don't see it as a responsibility of the city council, other than we have begun giving donations where we were monetarily unable to do so in the past. All this was, and this was at your request that Linda Doan put this in. Unfortunately, the letter got to us too late, but I'm not going to put the onus on the children, and that's where we're putting it. Our children from Hawaiian Gardens. Now, if you want to try and explain to the parents why city council let them down, that's fine. But
I'll explain it to 76 parents about the truancies, and
that has nothing to do with the issue at hand here, Leonard. Has absolutely nothing to do with the issue at hand. It has to do with these kids getting a chance to go on a trip that we'll never get again.
Well, I'm sorry.
And we're penalizing those children.
Yeah, for the actions of adults.
Well, who's penalizing the children?
We are.
How are we penalizing the children?
Because we're not helping them.
You know, the school district's penalized 76 kids.
Well, unfortunately, my colleague, when he gets one thought in his head, it just stays there.
It's not a free ride, Betty. I'm sure when your children went to school, you had to
They
give
did not
money.
go to camp.
Well, camp
Well,
existed.
regardless of whether they did or didn't,
Yeah.
this is now, that
But
was
they
then.
did have camp before. We had the casino, and a lot of children didn't go. They canceled the camp trips.
Well, you
So
guys,
you're saying that we should cancel this trip because all the kids can't go?
what do you mean all the kids can't go? That's not what I heard.
Well, they're not all going.
You don't even know the names of the kids who can't go.
Well, all I know is that there are some children that are in doubt of being able to go for lack of funds by the parents. The funds.
And they don't have a free ride. These kids have done fundraising.
Yeah.
They did a car wash this weekend. That's not a free ride as far as I'm concerned.
No, it's not a free ride, but I'm going to tell you one thing. If the school board felt about education the way we did, maybe they can dig in their own pockets and try to get
This will help change their mind next year.
Well,
they probably won't if you pay their way.
No.
Well, I doubt that very much. You know, it's not opening up any door very wide in this respect for this one item here. To me, it is still, I feel obligated as far as these kids are concerned because we've made promises to the kids in as much as we've given donations in the past and what have you. And we say that our youth, our future, and then there is some doubt on this. And when in doubt, I'm going to err on behalf of the kids. Yes, there's doubt as to whether it was funded partially by ABC or anything like that. But from what I've been hearing, this is PTA related, not ABC related, even though they're ABC school that they're going to.
But the letter you got is from the school district.
Well, we're not looking at the letter. We're looking at this.
Like I said, you get one thought in your mind and it stays there. Unfortunately, and that's where I have a problem. It's so darn hard. If it doesn't agree with your thinking, then we've got a problem because it doesn't agree with your thinking, so there go, everybody else is wrong. Well, in this case, I feel my colleague is wrong in this case where the kids are concerned.
I'm sorry, I feel you're wrong. I think it's strategy we have to take. It's a tough decision, we have to take it. And if the school district felt so hard about education the way we did, they'd take that tough decision too.
But I don't think even it's just ABC school district. I think other school districts do not fund field trips. The kids work for these. They sell candy. They do other fundraising.
That's
And
true.
the parents put in $180 for this trip. So if the parent can't afford the $180, then the other money is coming from PTA.
So why didn't they fundraise in October,
Support,
November,
Public
December,
support, it's all
January?
listed on this paper.
So why didn't they fund in October, November, December, January, February, April?
They've been working on this.
Well, it doesn't sound like they've been working on it very hard. Sounds like it's just a ploy to
Well, it's
make
not
us struggle
only
with
this
it.
item that has been presented to us at the last minute. We put out $5,000 for the kids to go on an airplane to Sacramento. That was on the week of the meeting.
That's right, and you know what, we didn't have the kind of problems we got now with the school
That's
board.
what I'm saying.
That's what I told you before.
I know, but you're using this as as far as I'm concerned, to force the school district for the other issues.
I think you got to wake the school district up.
Well, I can see the way the tide is going. Obviously, it's going to die for lack of agreement. We had a motion and a second, but I can
Well,
see where...
call for the question.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's for giving the money.
Yeah,
Oh, for giving the money?
giving the money.
Oh, well, no. I vote no.
I vote yes.
Aye, yes.
No.
See, I told you that's where the vote was going.
I knew that before.
No.
Okay.
We're going to break for 5 minutes, recess for 5 minutes.
F1.
I don't have that page.
Just say new business.
Okay. Okay, item E, F, new business.
No. F1 is this urgency ordinance.
Right, but it's under new business.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Closed session?
No.
No, Madam Mayor, we do have a
F1.
new item that was placed on new business, and which you voted on earlier. It is a proposed interim urgency ordinance of the City Council of the City of Hawaiian Gardens prohibiting the establishment of marijuana dispensaries in any zoning district within the city. At this time, I'd like to have our Community Development Director, Joe Colombo, give us a staff report and the circumstances of which, why we are presenting this right now.
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, it was brought to my attention last week that a business establishment by the name of Premium Care, Inc. had opened up at 21609 Norwood Boulevard, which is the building just north of the former Hometown Auto Supply on the east side of the boulevard. It is our understanding that the type of use that's conducted at this establishment is a medical marijuana dispensary, which that use had been approved by the voters of the state of California in 1996 through Prop 215, which basically allows patients to possess and cultivate marijuana for as long as they have a written or some type of approval from a physician. This type of land use is currently not regulated under the current zoning code and causes a problem to have these type of uses, not having it regulated, and therefore would be an immediate threat to the public health and safety and welfare. Staff would recommend that we entertain a 45-day moratorium on this type of land use, and perhaps we then can conduct some type of study. If need to, these type of moratoriums can also be extended as much as 22 months and 15 days. That is the recommendation of staff, and staff would recommend that you entertain ordinance number 508 U.
Madam Mayor, and also in addition to what Joe was saying, which is, he addressed one criteria of the problem that we're having, is that we just don't have enough, it's not addressed in our zoning ordinance. We just passed that zoning ordinance. Therefore, we don't have sufficient information to really develop regulations to deal with these. Two other areas, too, that we are faced with. We don't have enough information regarding what the nature of marijuana dispensaries, what they are. Also, we don't know what, if any, are some of the possible secondary effects that may result as a result of these operations. So we're not making a judgment call as to whether or not they can be in the city or not, but what we're saying is that because of the nature of the operations, that we recommend to the City Council to adopt this interim moratorium ordinance pending a study, pending some investigation looking at these. It's 45 days. We'll bring it back to you if we have more information on that to determine where you would like to go with it. And then if you need to, we can extend it again. But at this particular time, we need something we feel on the books right now, which would deal with the issues that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, my concern on this also is the fact that the federal government that shortly after the passage of this proposition stepped in and said that our laws trump yours.
Well, that's another issue that's been dealing with cities, because even though 215 was passed, the federal government has not adopted a similar statute, so we're at odds. And again, not that it's unresolvable, it's just that that's what's facing us at this point, and we need to put a hold on this until we find more.
F1.
I don't have that page.
Just say new business.
Okay. Item E, F, new business.
No. F1 is this urgency ordinance.
Right, but it's under new business.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Closed session?
No, Madam Mayor, we do have a new item that was placed on new business, which you voted on earlier. It is a proposed interim urgency ordinance of the City Council of the City of Hawaiian Gardens prohibiting the establishment of marijuana dispensaries in any zoning district within the city. At this time, I'd like to have our Community Development Director, Joe Colombo, give us a staff report and the circumstances of which, why we are presenting this right now.
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, it was brought to my attention last week that a business establishment by the name of Premium Care, Inc. had opened up at 21609 Norwood Boulevard, which is the building just north of the former Hometown Auto Supply on the east side of the boulevard. It is our understanding that the type of use that's conducted at this establishment is a medical marijuana dispensary, which that use had been approved by the voters of the state of California in 1996 through Prop 215, which basically allows patients to possess and cultivate marijuana for as long as they have a written or some type of approval from a physician. This type of land use is currently not regulated under the current zoning code and causes a problem to have these type of uses, not having it regulated, and therefore would be an immediate threat to the public health and safety and welfare. Staff would recommend that we entertain a 45-day moratorium on this type of land use, and perhaps we then can conduct some type of study. If need to, these type of moratoriums can also be extended as much as 22 months and 15 days. That is the recommendation of staff, and staff would recommend that you entertain ordinance number 508U.
Madam Mayor, and also in addition to what Joe was saying, which is, he addressed one criteria of the problem that we're having, is that we just don't have enough. It's not addressed in our zoning ordinance. We just passed that zoning ordinance. Therefore, we don't have sufficient information to really develop regulations to deal with these. Two other areas, too, that we are faced with. We don't have enough information regarding what the nature of marijuana dispensaries, what they are. Also, we don't know what, if any, are some of the possible secondary effects that may result as a result of these operations. So we're not making a judgment call as to whether or not they can be in the city or not, but what we're saying is that because of the nature of the operations, that we recommend to the City Council to adopt this interim moratorium ordinance pending a study, pending some investigation looking at these. It's 45 days. We'll bring it back to you if we have more information on that to determine where you would like to go with it. And then if you need to, we can extend it again. But at this particular time, we need something we feel on the books right now, which would deal with the issues that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, my concern on this also is the fact that the federal government that shortly after the passage of this proposition stepped in and said that our laws trump yours.
Well, that's another issue that's been dealing with cities, because even though 215 was passed, the federal government has not adopted a similar statute, so we're at odds. And again, not that...
Discussions with the group for quite some time now. There was a long period of time where I believe we sent letters and even made numerous phone calls to try and talk to the representatives there. Steve and I even went down there personally to try and meet with them, and we met with the dentists that were at the office, and at that time they told us that there wasn't enough patients. So we did everything we could to extend our assistance with marketing at the schools, at the city, putting it on cable. We never heard from them. So
well, it sounds to me like they just had their minds made up. They were leaving.
Weren't they going to come and give us some budget, or
we had requested budgetary information too. I know they do receive funding through the county for that program to serve our city. So we're actually going to be looking into that issue also. But Steve and I will be working on trying to get someone else in here to provide low-cost dental assistance to our residents.
Yeah,
our resident youth, actually.
I think we could probably find somebody else.
I sure don't want to fund their mobile.
No.
No way.
No.
But I think we should try to make an effort, maybe contact United Way or somebody else who's, who provides low-cost dental service. Maybe if there's a California Dental Association that does that kind of thing or something like that, some of these dental societies, maybe we can find out somebody who's willing to do some, and I understand they paid for some of this stuff, right?
Yes.
Right. So it's not like they're going to have to do it pro bono. They actually could make a little cash. I mean, if it's low income folks, I mean, they're not going to pay that much, but
I think we need to make an all effort to try and establish contact with some other entity to see if we can get someone in here to keep this dental program going.
Okay. Will do. And finally, on a lighter note, just a reminder that this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, Leeward Pool is having its annual grand opening.
Yeah.
And we'll be out there starting Saturday and continuing through Monday from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m.
I am not coming out and rowing a boat.
You got dogs out there? What are you going to have?
Hot dogs, hamburgers, punch, water.
Burgers.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you get the munchies, you can show up.
Madam Mayor, we will be having a budget session on Thursday, May 25th at 9 a.m., and hopefully we'll try to go all day, and we'll break for lunch, of course, and everything, if it's the pleasure of the council to have it at that time. And so tonight we will adjourn the meetings to May 25th.
Okay.
At 9 a.m.?
My dad's birthday.
Okay, oral council reports?
I think we pretty well shot those.
Blew that. I think if we did an oral council report right now, they'd throw stuff at us.
Okay,
I'll tell you later.
now we're going to the Community Redevelopment Agency.
Yeah, we'll reconvene the agency.
Yes.
Okay, oral communications, items on and not on the agenda. Anybody wishing to speak, please step forward and give us your name and address for the record.
Good evening, council members. This is actually in regards to what you had recently discussed, the 508U moratorium. With your permission, I'd like to discuss that a little further. I was not here earlier when we had the open discussion for it.
Would you state for the record your name and address?
My name is Scott Linden. My address is 215 North Marengo Avenue, 3rd floor, Pasadena, California 91101.
Okay.
I agree that a moratorium, or at least reviewing of the ordinances in the local municipal code, needs to be reviewed and changed in order to comply with the California law. However, I don't believe it's necessary to close this particular dispensary during the course of the time of this moratorium. When LA County ran their moratorium, they actually left the dispensary open during the time of it to actually monitor it and see how everything was working, where they could check in and, kind of keep updates. West Hollywood did the same thing in addition to grandfathering in a number of them. There's a number of people who came tonight who are willing to get up and talk to you about how the location here has benefited them a lot. The next closest one for most of them is going to be Hollywood, which is a very long drive. Through the traffic, through the gas. It's just very expensive, and this is much more convenient to them. I actually did draft a sample regulations based on what Los Angeles County did. I provided this to Mr. Colombo earlier today. He's already made mention of couple changes and things that need to be different in it. However, I do think that denying this business the right to continue to do their business not only is bad for denying them their business, but it also hurts a number of these patients and residents here who are dependent on this and who now need to drive this excessive distance to get the medication that they were prescribed. I did bring copies in case you want me to pass them around to everyone of a sample ordinance, or at least the definition notice requirements. And it includes things that, with distance from sensitive uses, though I was told it might be better to just have actual streets set up for them. Lighting, removal of graffiti, signage, security, hours. I mean, I made a very complete breakdown, like I said, based on theirs. And I think that if you review the ordinances and take a look at them, you'll see it actually also includes an indemnification for the city itself, that the dispensary owners would be agreeing that they understand that there is the possibility of federal prosecution, but that they are relieving the city and the county of responsibility for them doing this. The biggest problem between the federal and state, what's going on now, and you're correct, is that the federal government did say that this falls under the Federal Controlled Substances Act, but under that act there is a carve-out for medical substances. And the state of California, with Prop 215, using 10th Amendment, said health, welfare, safety of our citizens, we want to allow this as a medication. And we all kind of have, I'm sure, have been seeing the FDA in their own internal conflicts saying that there's no medicinal and then releasing a week later a synthetic form in medicinal. So, I mean, obviously there's some higher jockeying that's going on that's beyond us, but the federal government in their laws have clearly said that there is the carve-out for the medical, and California has taken this medical carve-out and provided this for its own citizens. So my request is that they need to correct the issues that Mr. Colombo had mentioned, and I agree they do need to correct those before they can be granted a business license or anything temporary that they can continue working, and they will correct those immediately. But I do think it would behoove the city to allow them to remain open as at least an example to look at and to watch while you're deciding, and it would probably assist with figuring out how they run and the procedure. I mean, they do have a set of procedures, forms, guidelines that they run when a new patient comes in, which I'm sure myself or any of the owners or employees there would be more than happy to walk anyone through and explain exactly how it works so that you are fully informed when you're making your decision and reviewing it. And again, I have these in case anybody would like them.
Oh, Mr. Linden, I like your presentation, but part of it's not true. The closest one is not in Hollywood or West Hollywood. You got about 4 or 5 in Long Beach, okay? So, like, if your people don't know that, they could save a little gas. I know gas is about $3.20 a gallon, and you would want to drive all the way to Hollywood, and you can drive to Long Beach.
Right. I actually am discussing with Bellflower similar ordinances and City of Industry. So there are a number of other local...
And you know, we're a small city. We're 9/10 of a square mile. So it's tough for us, to have not any kind of regulations. I mean, we have kids that walk there every day through there to go to high school. That is a major thoroughfare for our kids. I'm sure if your guys have walked, or there's people, your patients have seen our kids walk in the morning and come back in the afternoon, right down Norwalk Boulevard, right in front of that establishment. So it makes it difficult, when we're talking about establishments like this, when the kids are passing by.
I agree.
That makes it tough.
I agree it's a concern. I agree that is the biggest concern, is making sure kids are protected on this and making sure that they don't get in there. And that's why there are strict regulations about patients, and there's security guards and security systems set up to make sure that only the proper patients come in.
Right.
I mean, I could give you a quick overview, which is the patient arrives with their prescription and their California identification. They provide that to the location who maintains a copy of it and has them assign them as primary caregiver. The doctor is then contacted. Until the doctor has given approval that this is their patient and they approve this, they're not led any further than the initial reception area. They go no further. They're never in contact with any medication, anything further than that, until they've received doctor approval. At that point, they're then allowed to proceed, and there is security and everything, making sure it stays that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Just, Madam Chair, just for purposes, you really can't make any decisions. You're the agency now. So you can take the comments, and if you want to put it on the agenda, city council agenda, we can do that, but you've already approved the moratorium.
I think we can take it.
We could take whatever he's got and he could give it to the city clerk.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we can. And that will help us.
Yeah.
Do you want number copies?
I think everybody's trying to be fair here, but we also have to err on the side of caution here for the city's sake.
Which is why I do request that he comply with these, I guess there was 4 different violations that he had mentioned. Obviously zoning, we have to figure out that one, and some kind of temporary business license so he can operate, pay tax to the city and everything. But it would be obviously beneficial to everyone if he would be able to remain open, so you guys can see how it works, and it would help with the study and seeing how everything goes. So I would request that you add that onto the vote.
Again, you've already taken action.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately, we have already taken action on this item this evening. Next time we could even think about addressing it would be at our next council meeting, which will be on the 13th of the month? Yeah. So.
Well, I would appreciate if we could add that to the agenda so we could discuss it then. And maybe during that time we could at least get some of the preliminary reviewing of these and some of the discussions going, some of the talk going on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Glenn Cornejo, homeowner at 12334 12th Street in Hawaiian Gardens. I think you guys are doing a wise decision by waiting and see. One of the things I think they don't understand is that, we have a lot of gangs that are heavily into the rock and crystal and meth. what is this to secure their facility? Breaking in for them, it's going to be a nice big payoff, okay? I don't think they realize what they're getting into over here. I don't think they really surveyed the area. They're just trying to have some place to go right away, immediate, prompt, and fast. And they're not really thinking about the consequences that could happen around here. Those patients going in can easily get robbed as they're coming out that store. Just, think about it, and I really appreciate you guys thinking about the kids also walking to the school there, because not only Artesia kids walk there, you got a middle school that walks there. So you got two kinds of traffic. Thank you.
Council, my name is Richard Lindahl. I live at 2321 St. Joseph, Long Beach, California, 90815. Thank you for giving me a chance to address you regarding the medical marijuana dispensary. And sounds like you may have already done some homework. However, you're in error, sir. There aren't 4 in Long Beach. I only know of 2, and I haven't found anything there that will provide the relief. I have peripheral chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy. I'm a cancer survivor, and I'm in nausea constantly. I use marijuana as medicine. I also have a prescription for Marinol. I have a prescription for OxyContins. I prefer not to use those. However, I do find the relief from the marijuana. I would like it if you would go ahead and give these guys a chance. I think the Compassionate Use Act is something that we voted for in California, and I do believe that state law does trump federal law, regardless of what the federal government says. And so I'd like you guys, I grew, in reference to you with the schools, I grew up in Los Alamitos, so I've been a member of the community since 1958. Okay, so I've been around here. I know that I'm not scared, and I'm crippled. None of those kids are going to go get their dope there. There's other places to get their dope. Are you serious? I'm sorry, but it's, and I appreciate you. You sound like you love the kids, but that's preposterous. That place has got, they follow through with certain, we all have our prescriptions. We all have to follow through with this. We want a nice place where we can go get our medication legally. And this seems like a pretty fair thing in a community where you've got a gambling establishment right there. Do you think those kids don't know about gambling? They're all playing 5-card stud online constantly. My son does. He comes and drops some money there. So you can take your self-righteousness. I apologize, but I've sat here and listened to this. My wife's an educator, and I'm all for the kids, and I know what you go through as far as the school district and the county. But I've listened to all this, and now I'd like you to go ahead and give them a chance and reopen the establishment, at least through the time of the moratorium, the 45-day moratorium. Thank you.
Hello, council members. My name is Brian Royhob. I live at 111 North Evelyn Drive in Anaheim, California. I'm a medical patient and one of the first customers to the new dispensary. You mentioned the size of the city, 9/10 of a square mile. Yeah, you do have a casino within the radius. And that told me from the beginning that this was a free-thinking city with, and aside from being beautiful, it does appear to me that the people are very spirited. You mentioned in regards to the children that you would err on the side, in the case of children, in regards to the bridge, in regards to the liability issue, you would put that aside, and I ask you to do similar with medical patients. I know that the town motto is, our youth, our future, but that doesn't necessarily mean, our disabled, our trash. there are people in pain, and there are a few places in Long Beach where I could pay double the price and drive 3 times the mileage as opposed to just coming the few blocks on Lincoln. And in the spirit of compassion, which I know this council has, I ask you to reconsider your decision to postpone. At least, if during the 45-day moratorium, they can at least stay in business to service the customers that have come in, the over 150 at least customers that have already shown their overwhelming support and need for this establishment. And to the gentleman that brought up the gangs in the area and such, it may very well be an issue that drug use could be a problem. And if anything, having this legal alternative would be nothing but providing competition to street dealers and cutting it down. And, I really feel that you guys should take another look at this. And I think one dispensary under close monitoring, even if they're only allowed to keep the customers that they already have during the first few weeks, would prove to be of great benefit to the city and in the interest of the moratorium and setting ordinance for this type of thing in the future. I thank you for your time.
Again, I have to reiterate that we have already voted on this, and I've been advised by our city attorney that we could not even come close to addressing this again until the 13th of June, which is our regularly scheduled council meeting, since we've already taken action on the motion, on this ordinance.
I know, but they want to speak. They can speak.
Okay, my name is Ben Lerner, 2110 Hill Street, Signal Hill. I want to first say thank you for allowing me to speak. Secondly, the dispensary in question has provided something that you don't normally find, especially in the ones in Long Beach. That is compassion, care, and really good service. That's one of the most important things to a patient, along with safety, is the ability of somebody who cares behind the counter to help you and to help the patients select the proper medication. I take over 10 pills a day for my current illness, and the marijuana that I have been able to obtain from PCI has helped me tremendously with my illness. I have not only 2 doctors that I currently see that support my use, but essentially also understand that it might also lead to where one day I might not need those 10 pills. Basically, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
My name is Caleb Landaker. I'm at 8740 Comanche Avenue in Winnetka, California. It's in San Fernando Valley. When I started this business, I went to a website that frequents medical marijuana patients, and I asked them, where do you want me to open a co-op? I've helped open 2 in the Valley, and I wanted to start one on my own and run one the way I think, as myself as a patient, I wanted to be treated. And out of the ones that you've mentioned, go there, go look at them, and you come to my place and you tell me your honest opinion. Would you rather go there every day, or would you rather come to my facility that is neat, it's clean, you're the 100%, read the logo on the back of the shirt. Premium medication, premium service, and premium prices. We don't make you pay more. We don't price gouge. The whole Proposition 215 was based on compassion. And how can any other co-op owner in California tell me that when they're going to charge somebody $65, $70, $75 for 3.5 grams of marijuana, when they can charge a lot less to patients that, A, can't afford it, I was making over $15,000 a month as a personal trainer before I got hurt. When I got hurt, I couldn't walk for 2 years. I tore my Achilles tendon and acquired tensor fasciitis on both feet. I went from making $15,000 a month to $1,000 a month. You mentioned kids. I have 3 kids at home, 5, 4, and 2.5, and I have a 14-year-old daughter. I see those kids walking by my facility every day. I watch them for graffiti because we've been graffitied on probably 10 times since we've been there. And B, we watch everybody. I've sat and talked to local sheriff.
Sir, you need to address the council on that.
I apologize. I've talked to local sheriff department, and when they came by for different reasons, whether it be vagrants on the street or a supposed attempted burglary across the street, they know exactly what we're doing there, and I've asked them for their help. I'm not hiding from anybody. What I want to do is I want to come here and I want to be here for the patients. These are over 150 patients that I've gotten in 2.5, near 3 weeks of having my business. At every other co-op that I've ever either run or worked at, it would take somewhere around 2.5 to 3 months to build 100 patients, and I've done it in 2.5, 3 weeks. Why? Because nobody wants to go to Compton. Do you want to go to Compton? I don't think any of the females here would want to go to Compton and buy medication if they had cancer or maybe AIDS and they had to get their medication. Would you want to go to Long Beach? Not the facilities that I've seen. You walk into a little room that reminds you of a crack house. Ours isn't. Ours is a nice, well-lit, clean facility. And patients are our #1 priority. And I understand you guys want to have a moratorium, and I'm not against you on that. The only primary concern I have is what's going to happen to these 150 people for the next 45 days while you guys consider it. And the gentleman in the wheelchair that was here earlier, he gets 15 miles on his electric battery. Is Long Beach 7.5 miles from here? Well, once he gets there, he can get back. But if there's one that's 15 miles away, he's got to sit there and recharge his battery for a couple hours so he can get home. You guys are taking at least one person that not only can't use his hands, but his feet. And you're taking the only place he has within battery distance away from him. And I'm not angry that you guys are doing this. I just ask that you at least consider the fact that you have a lot of people that wouldn't come to this area because of, like you were saying, people think of this as gang infested or drug infested.
No, I didn't say that.
I came to this valley. Well, let me tell you one thing. When I drove around with my friends for 8.5 hours on the border of Orange County to find something, I drove through this area and was like, dude, this place is nice. Look at this. Everything's freshly repainted. The concrete's brand new. The driveways are clean. This place is sweet. We went in. The lady charged us $1,300 extra to move in when we weren't even supposed to. But we thought this was a great place. We loved the area. Everybody who comes in goes, why would you think Hawaiian Gardens? This place has so many gangs. Well, you'd never be able to tell with the way they've done everything. I don't want to be a part of the downfall. I want to be a part of the rise of this community. And I think what we're actually doing, if you guys would take the time to come in and see it, would actually show you that. And thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Roxanne Blank. I live at 191697 Leahy Street in Northridge, California. It's also in the San Fernando Valley. I'm an employee at Premium Care. I'm the receptionist, and I just wanted to attest that everything that Mr. Linden said about allowing the patients in to get their medication is completely true. We would never let a child anywhere near the medication. There's no way I would ever. I have a younger sister myself, and I'm very liberal, and I don't even let her do anything. I would never let a child into the back room to get any medication at all. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else?
Can I speak 5 times?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Chris Van Ginkel. I live at 2085 North Dustin Avenue in Orange, California, 92865. I've been going to co-ops now for just about a year, and when I came into this one, I was with a wand to make sure I had no weapons, to make sure I couldn't hurt anybody. It's the first time I've ever seen anything like that in a co-op. The man that runs the store, or this pharmacy, whatever you would like to call it, is a really good person. He's compassionate. He treats you like a friend instead of a patient. And I think you guys really should consider your 45-day moratorium is fantastic. I agree. You guys should consider him be able to run the store while you have that moratorium. Thank you.
I know.
Hi, my name is Abel Navarro, 21807 St. Avenue, and I actually live in this neighborhood. I understand about the gang violence. I understand about the meth epidemic. I understand about all the crime rate, but at the same time, we're trying to help people that are in need. That are doing this for medical use. You're not going to have no teenager from high school just walk in and say, hey, can I buy some? And they're going to agree to it. Not at all. And with everything else going on, we need to support the people that are actually disabled, that can't even get to this spot. You know, in Long Beach, I've been there. It's very, very small, and there's very much regulations. I've been in Compton as well. I've actually almost been robbed just because my skin color, not because I'm buying from there. There's many other different spots we could go to, but at the same time, this is a nice neighborhood. And what we've been doing with Hawaiian Gardens Casino, I actually see more drug rate higher with meth because I've seen them coming by. They go down my street, they steal the cars on my block, they steal other cars around just to get more money to go spend on the casino. I've seen a very large rate of drugs in the neighborhood around that area. It may look nice. We can make everything look rich, we can make everything look nice. But at the same time, those people are still selling drugs, the wrong kind. It's still happening. If anything, you know, the cops, they try their best, but they still need a little bit of help. Then everything else, that's the biggest thing right there. You know, we care about our casino a lot, but, you know, what about the people around that casino? Thank you.
Anybody else?
¿Es todo?
I think that's it.
¿Nada más? Okay. That's okay.
Okay.
Now get up, Mary.
We already did the one before.
Golly.
Resolutions, B1, adopt resolution number 2006-014, approving pre-issue warrants and regular warrants in the amount of $17,713.04.
Move wait for the reading and adopt resolution number 2006-014.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Director Chairez?
Aye.
Director Schultz?
Yes.
Director Canada?
Yes.
Vice Chair Member Hickerman?
Yes.
Chair Member Prida?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Agency action. Adopt resolution number 2006-015, recommending to the City Council of the City of Hawaiian Gardens adoption of an ordinance amending the redevelopment plan for project area number 1 to extend the time limit of the effectiveness of the plan pursuant to Senate Bill 1096,
1096.
Chapter 211, Stats 204.
Madam Chair, we ask that you continue this item to the June 13th meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, we're continuing, right?
Yeah, we don't have all the paperwork on it. You can't vote on something you don't know about.
We need a motion and a second on it.
I'll move so that we continue to the next regular meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Motion carries.
Yeah? No, Madam Mayor, you didn't ask for the vote.
All in favor?
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah. Aye.
I did.
Aye.
Okay.
My pen's flying apart.
All in favor? I did.
We said aye.
Is it aye?
Even
Okay.
I'm voting again?
for the whole rest of it.
No.
Yes.
I'm not going to argue with you.
I'd say,
I never argue with a lady.
Okay.
I said I have two eyes.
Oh.
but I'm wearing glasses.
C1 consent calendar. Community Development Department Commercial Rehabilitation Program monthly report.
Move to receive and
April
file.
2006. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any discussion items? Presentation of minutes, May 9th. May 9th, 2006, regular meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. New business, closed session. Oral staff reports,
None at this time.
oral agency reports. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
We will be
Move
adjourning
it.
this to May 25th at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Okay.
Leonard moved it. Leonard moved it on our German anyhow, so.
Okay. Now we have,
All right.
We got.
Yeah, we've got the
housing.
public housing yet.
that's the one I'm looking for.
Why would Gary say that shit?
That's only one page, isn't it?
Basically.
Stupid.
Well, it's 2 pages, but the second page is getting to the end of it. Here, you want to use mine?
Yeah, do you need these? No.
I think I can remember it.
One page. You
Yeah,
should.
it should be a real quick one.
It sure would.
All we're
thinking
doing
this.
is, approving this consent calendar, and that's it. And approval of the minutes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, you're legal. All right.
Are we missing one?
Yeah, we'll just move to excuse her. Let's move us to excuse her. Want to call roll call.
This meeting to order.
Be the fastest
Public
meeting in
Housing
history.
Authority. Roll call, please.
Director Kanoy? Director Mahar? Wishes to be excused tonight?
Move to excuse her, please.
Second.
Director Chaidez?
Yeah, I made it.
Director Schultz? Director Canada?
Here.
Vice Chairmember Hickerman?
Here.
Chairmember Frida?
Here.
You have a quorum?
Okay. Oral communications. This is a time reserved for members of the audience wishing to speak on agenda, on and off the agenda. This period will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Maximum time allocated is 15 minutes. Anybody wishing to speak?
No.
Everybody's gone?
Nobody wants to talk about the.
Wow, nobody?
Nobody
Okay.
wants to talk about the Kush House.
You with a meeting?
Moving along.
You're not gonna talk.
Glenn, you're giving our city a bad name talking about gangsters and stuff.
Consent calendar,
What's wrong with you?
A1.
Don't even get up there. We're going to throw stuff at you.
Housing
eh?
Assistance Program,
Here
monthly.
we've been fighting a PR thing. You stick it on cable. Eh?
We're conducting here. Or at least our mayor is trying to.
He's going to get up looking.
I just want to know if those files are actually files of a patient out in the public. Yeah, it makes you feel real good.
Okay. I'm going to move receive and file the consent calendar.
Glenny.
Something to fight about.
Second.
Well, there's pictures of you in your past. You're messing around.
I think we're losing
Burn you.
control here.
We have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Madam
Motion
Mayor,
carries.
thank you.
Okay, now can I continue?
Yes,
With
please.
A1? Okay. We already did that, didn't we?
No, we haven't done approval of minutes yet.
We're at B1.
Okay, discussion items, none. Approval of minutes.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any-
Aye. Go ahead, Mary, you can vote.
Okay. Closed session?
None.
Oral staff reports?
None.
Oral board reports?
No.
None.
No warrants?
Move to adjourn?
This one,
No warrants. Move to adjourn.
This one will also be adjourned to May
That's adjourned to
25th
May-
at 9 a.m.
All right, so moved.
Now,
Okay.
get out of here.
Okay.